morning. This is Shelley Devine, and I am here with another episode of my podcast of Art, Animals, and Spirit. This episode is number 5, and it is opening your spiritual channels and understanding signs and messages. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to explore something that many of you have been asking about: how to recognize and receive messages from Spirit through your intuition. Let's start by really understanding intuition. You know how sometimes you walk in a room and immediately sense the energy, whether there's tension, joy, or sadness? That's your intuition at work. Think of intuition as your soul's GPS system. It's an innate knowing that goes beyond our 5 physical senses. Intuition shows up in 4 main ways. Clairsentience, which is clear feeling. Claircognizance, which is clear knowing. Clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, and clairaudience, which is clear hearing. Maybe you've experienced some of these yourself. Have you ever walked into a house and instantly felt its history? That's clairsentience. Have you ever had a sudden knowing that you should take a different route home, only to later learn that there was an accident on your usual path? That's claircognizance. Seeing flashes of light or colors in your mind during meditation, that's clairvoyance. Have you ever heard a voice in your head telling you to check on a friend who you later discovered really needed support? That's clairaudience. There aren't just random occurrences. There are spiritual antennae picking up signals from the universe. Let's dive deeper into how Spirit communicates through these channels. Synchronicities are like Spirit's wink at you. Here's what they may look like. You're questioning whether to start a new project, and suddenly you see references to it everywhere, in conversations, billboards, license plate, or you're thinking about your grandmother, and her butterfly, her favorite creature, lands right next to you and lingers longer than usual. One of my listeners shared how she found white feathers on her path during a difficult decision period, each feather appearing at moments when she needed reassurance the most. Physical sensations are your body's way of translating spiritual messages. Beyond just goosebumps, you might suddenly experience temperature changes, like warm spots on your body when connecting with loved ones in spirit. Or maybe you feel a gentle pressure on your shoulders when you need comfort. Or, this is one that happens to me a lot, your crown chakra tingles when receiving divine guidance. They are not just imagination. They are spirit touch points. Dreams and meditation messages often come with powerful symbolism. For example, repeatedly dreaming of water might reflect your emotional state or signal a need to go with the flow. During meditation, you might receive clear mental images or words that provide guidance for current situations. Now let's talk about strengthening your intuitive muscles. Here's a daily practice I call morning message check-in. You wake up in the morning, before you reach for your phone, take 3 deep breaths and ask Spirit, what do I need to know today? Pay attention to the first thing that pops into your mind, whether it's a color, a word, feeling, or image. Write it down. And at day's end, reflect on how that message played out. You'd be amazed at the accuracy. Here's a personal example. One morning I woke up and asked my guides, what do I need to know today? I lay there quietly with my eyes closed for a few seconds. Then I heard the word yellow in my left ear. It was a male voice. I considered the possible meaning of this one-word message. Then I understood. Yellow to me means joy. So my mission for that day was to be joyful and maintain that feeling throughout the day. I even wore a yellow shirt to remind me. Some messages are that simple. Other times, I've had to dive a bit deeper to fully understand. Here's one of the weirder ones for me. One morning I heard Don Quixote tilting at windmills. Okay, so I understand who that is, and I know that story. Don't know it very well, though. So I had to look it up and look up the meaning. And it was basically a statement that Don Quixote was wanting to fight windmills who he thought were these monsters, these enemies. So basically, it's the statement about fighting an imaginary opponent or evil. I didn't know that. That was interesting. So I thought perhaps that meant that the Parkinson's I was diagnosed with but struggled to accept was the imaginary opponent. I had been obsessively asking my guides if I really had it or not getting any clear answers. So to confirm, I asked my guides if I was correct in understanding that Parkinson's was my imaginary opponent, meaning I don't really have it. One of my favorite methods of confirmation is I ask to be touched on the right side of my body for yes and the left side of my body for no. Well, nothing happened for a while. So I started wondering if my anxiety was the imagined evil, and instantly I was touched on my right leg. Then I understood. The anxiety was the imagined evil. And though the things we fear when we have anxiety are not real in the present moment, the anxiety itself, the way you feel, is very real. We just need to remember that we're okay in that present moment, and that the anxiety we're feeling is imagined. It's the imagined opponent. Okay? So, how do we recognize our intuition? The key to learning to distinguish between intuition and fear or wishful thinking, well, that is a great question. And the intuitive messages typically have certain characteristics, and this is how you're going to distinguish them. They come suddenly and clearly like a flash of insight. They feel calm and neutral. Even if the message is about something challenging, they often defy logic, but later prove to be accurate. They persist gently, unlike anxiety, which tends to spiral. That's an important note. I'm going to read that again. They persist gently, unlike anxiety, which tends to spiral. Let me share some more examples of how intuition will show up. Okay, let's say you were compelled to take a different grocery store aisle than normal. You know, you go in the grocery store, you have your routine, you start over here, and then you go through the aisles. But say you were compelled to go down a different one first, and you ran into someone who became a crucial mentor to you. Or when you keep saying the number sequence 555 right before a major life transition, signaling significant change. What about the morning you woke up with an inexplicable urge to call your sister, only to discover she was going through an unspoken crisis? That is how intuition works. Here's a powerful exercise to try this week, and I'm calling it the Signs and Symbols Journal. Okay, so each morning I want you to ask Spirit to show you 3 signs throughout your day. Keep your phone notes open or carry a small notebook. Record anything that stands out, like repeated numbers, animal encounters, overheard conversations that feel meaningful, stuff like that. Before bed, review your notes and look for patterns. Do this for 7 days straight, and you will start noticing the unique way that Spirit speaks to you. Remember, developing your intuition is like learning a new language, the language of Spirit. At first, it might feel like you're just guessing, but with practice, those guesses become more and more accurate. Trust that you're already receiving messages. Your intuition isn't something you need to acquire. It's an innate gift you are simply remembering how to use. Before we close, I invite you to share your experiences with the Signs and Symbols Journal exercise. Your story might be exactly what another listener needs to hear to trust their own intuitive gifts. If you'd like to share your story, send me an email at art.animals.spirit@gmail.com. And if you would like a reading from me, you can book one on my website at infinitesoulreadings.com. Until next time, stay open to the whispers of Spirit, trust those subtle nudges, and remember, your intuition is your superpower. We'll see you next time.